Hi, I'd like to introduce you to the newest feature on AudioFlow, which is our Procreate. And with this, now you can actually add a lot more into the conversation. And what I mean by that is that you can actually incorporate emotions into the podcast that you generate, and you can change the emotions throughout the actual conversation. So let me show you how it works, and then I'll give you an example of exactly what the new features entail and how much more advanced and human-like the actual conversation sound even more than before. So what I'm going to do is just use this job spec that I've seen on the PepsiCo website. So I'm just going to take this job spec here and just put this in. Just like before, you can just upload your own documents and you can go from there. So what I'll do is I will just give this a title, which is the senior manager. Actually, a really good job, to be fair. And if it was in the UK, I'd actually be tempted to make an application myself. So it is a same as before, like in the create page, where you can go to interview style, say how long you want the duration to be. So we'll go for 10 minutes for now. And just like before, if it can go up to 10 minutes, it will do, but it really just depends the amount of context that you give it. I'll change the tone to casual. There are some new features now in the advanced model, so you can actually then add more filler words, and you can also add verbal nods and cross talkings, because one thing with this model is that I really wanted it to sound even more human-like and speak in the way that humans speak. Like, I don't speak perfect, so if I go onto a podcast, I probably would be umming and ahhing quite frequently, potentially a little bit of nervousness and so forth. So I think that was what I kind of built into this pro model, is not to be so perfect, because I think with the Create version, it sounds sometimes very scripted, and the tones can just be kind of one way all the way through. But with this now, it will basically put in some filler words. It will have sections where it potentially crosses over the conversations as well, just to sound more human. And you'll see a huge difference between the original model that we have and now the new Create model. So what I'll do is I will call this one Rachel, and I'll just quickly get a voice for Rachel. When you start, like I said before, you'll always start to figure out the voices that you think work well. And I've always got preferences of voices that I kind of like to go with. But it really just depends on yourself. So I'm going to just click on add, and then I will put one for. And then for this one, I will use Ben. And then same as before, you just generate your content. So what I'll do is I'll pause it whilst it's currently generating, and then I will be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, so the podcast has come back, and you can see now you have it saved to your approval section, and this is like before where it goes into approval, so you can go back and edit if needed. But let's listen to the new version of the podcast.
So, Paul, we're talking about this pretty fascinating role at PepsiCo, the Senior Manager for Global Learning Strategy and Experience, right?
Right, and it's not just about learning. It's about transforming how learning is integrated into work.
And they're based in either Purchase, Plano, or Chicago, right?
Yeah, that's flexible. I mean, being able to choose a hub that works best is super attractive.
Totally. And the role itself focuses on driving innovation in learning. That's pretty key.
Exactly. They need to cultivate this continuous learning culture across the organization. It's a big deal.
I guess that means they're really shaping how learning solutions fit into PepsiCo's wider strategic goals.
Exactly. And, they need to align these solutions globally while keeping them relevant locally.
And what about the technology aspect? They're driving this learning tech roadmap.
Oh, that's a huge part of it. I mean, using data and analytics to measure learning impact is essential.
And there's this focus on a skills-based development framework.
So as you can see, there's it's basically built it now within segments, and each segment has its emotion attached to that one sentence. And the really good features on here now is that you can actually go through each segment and change the way that the podcast is produced. So say for example here on the Rachel's first line is curious, but if we want that to be a bit more exciting, we can just click on that and go to excited. The other part as well, so if you just want to kind of highlight a section of a podcast, you can change the emotion just on the line just by highlighting it here, and then you can go, okay, I want this part of the line to be curious, but then I want this part to be a little bit more thoughtful. So what you do then at the end, once you've kind of gone through changing some of the emotions to tweak the sound of the actual podcast, you can then go to the top and then you can just generate the changes, and then it will produce exactly the same podcast but in a new format with the emotions tweaked if you're not happy with the original output. And you can kind of go through and just keep tweaking the actual podcast until you have the emotions that you're expecting throughout the whole conversation. Now, this was never here before, and you can also see that everything's being put into line by line. And you can see that there's some ums and ahs, and obviously when I was building the actual original podcast, I was selecting all the options that were available, so I did include the ums and ahs and the crossovers. But you can when you're building your podcast, if you want it to be a bit more clean, you can do that. So you have a lot more flexibility now in the kind of tones, the emotions that are added. You can also completely edit the whole script as well just by pressing the edit script button. So if you want to add some more material into there, if you want to change some of the tweaks, some of the wording, you can also do that. But if you're happy with the script that's been produced, you can literally go through the emotions and then you regenerate when you are looking to recreate the podcast. And then when you are happy with it, it will do as before. It will go into the approval section, and then from the approval section you can then approve it, and then it will sit your final version within the library. So really excited about this new feature that we've got. Love to hear your feedback, and if you've got any questions, just give me a shout. Speak soon.